So for the newcomer, welcome to the Rudder room again. So now we are going to talk about what's new in Rudder. So we will talk about 5.0 a little bit, 6.0, which is a newer version available a few weeks ago, and the next one. So far so good. 5.0 was the current stable release. Now it's over. So the current stable release is 6.0, which is a new one, so from a few weeks now. Main focus for the 5.0 was adding OS query that show you a little bit earlier, Alexi. We also had category techniques, which we renamed now, and we enhanced a bit the scalability and the performance of Rudder. Of course, we also finished the plugin integration. So you know that 5.0 brings new plugin version, and so it's written on the API. So now we stabilize a little bit, and Felix will talk to you a little bit about that because we are publishing more officially, and to allow you to clear the plugin now with Rudder. So this is something that could be interesting if you are already a user of Rudder. So the community version of Rudder, so there is no community version because it's the same Rudder everywhere, but if you don't have any subscription, it will end on the 9th of March, so you will be forced to pass through 6.0 if you want to have security fix and bug fix. For our customers who had a subscription, so it will be the 9th for the standard one and the 9th of September for the premium one. But this was the 5.0, and I talked a little bit that it was in the last minor versions, and to be honest, we were not so good in the semantic until now. So the minor, we call that majors, but which one is majors anyway? And we wanted to have a more clear vision of the versioning in Rudder, so it will help you to better understand how it works from now. So it's actually our versioning at the moment started from 6.0. So now we call majors the first numbers, the first figure, minors the second one, and patch for the last one. Major versions could introduce some instability in your systems. So we don't recommend to use the first like 5.0 or 7.0 for your production services. We introduce a lot of new things. We'll talk to you about the new things in 6.0. And for your production, you should wait to have the 6.1 version, for example. So this is a minor. It could be it's possible that we have a 6.2 or 6.3 also, so another minors. It will be some new features, but only new features that are very stable, and reliable. And from now, all the patch versions, so the last one, the third figures, will only be patch for bug and security. So no new features and probably no exception. So please be careful about upgrading on the new releases. Please read the release note. We always explain a little bit more in the release note that, yeah, you pay attention to this. When you are upgrading from this version, it could be harmful or anything. So please read the release note before upgrading anything. And pay attention also if it's for the next 7.0, just wait a little bit because it could be harmful for your production. And we don't want that, I think. So 6.0, that was out a few weeks. We enhanced the protocol of communication between the node and the master root server. So basically we dropped syslog, which is a good idea. I think there is a lot of people that are very happy. So now it's HTTPS protocol with compression, so which is really better. You can upgrade so directly to 6.0. It will keep the syslog at the beginning, and after you can make the switch later. Please pay attention that the change only mode of communication, you know, it's a way to just reduce the amount of communication on the network. So you just update the change on the change and not the whole things in the report. Will not be compatible for now on the new protocol. We also added a resources technique. So it's a version resource. So Alexei showed you just before. It's better because now it's totally linked to your technique version. So it's not separate in a file shared, which are not sharing the same dependence. So now you have all the dependence and you can use the API to make all your change also on the resources. So you can also enjoy a little bit the lifting of the technique editor, which is a little bit better and easier to understand, especially about the conditions. And so you have the list here. You have the list of the file directly that you can use within the technique. We also had node certificates. So Rudder is not intended to be a CA. So it's pretty simple, but it could be useful for you also to repudiate and to sign everything between the node and the Rudder root server. You can use your own at your own risk. So this is something from 6.0, sorry. Also, when you are bootstrapping, so on the first Rudder inventory, when you added your node, there is no more initial promises. There is, but it's a little bit more simpler. And so, for example, when you added the node on the first time, they make all the changes, especially on the syslog part, that could be a little bit disappointing if you already have syslog things on your systems. So now it's lighter, quicker, and there is only the default parameters that are pulled from the server. So it's not initial promises that you can't handle directly. Yep.
Is the inventory still being processed and uploaded?
Yeah. Exactly. So firstly, you have an inventory, so you can accept after the nodes. So you have got the full inventory, like shown like usual. And when you accept, then it will calculate the group appartenance and then the rules, and so then the first rules that need to be applied to the node. We enhance a lot more the performance and the scalability. I will not go too much into the details because there will be an inline talk by Nicolas Charles, I think in 2 hours or something like that, that will talk a lot more than me on this side. Basically, we focused on users that have 1,000 nodes, which is a small part of our users, but a large part of our customers. So it's really interesting to dig this out. As for now, we are more talking about having only a Rudder root server to manage all your nodes. So it was a good work based on that. We also changed a little bit a component in the Scala web app with Z.io. Which is better to understand what is going on and how to handle the errors in Rudder. And we're trying to more automate also all the tests to avoid regression during the new process. We rewrite the API relay and all the relay D in Rust. So it's more secured, it's more performant, and it's usable through the API really easily, and it can run in non-root. And in read-only, only for the few, so for the reports inventory, because it needs to actually write the reports and the inventory somewhere. So it could be very more useful now to use it as an interface between a public network and a private network instead of just showing your Rudder root server directly. Yeah, so I told you that we made a lot of change in the technique editor, so just test and you will see there is a lot more. It's static, so it's not very interesting, but you should just grab a new version and you will see that it's pretty usable and very nice. We had a per user filter, so now the validation workflow, which is a plugin that allowing you to track change and approve a change by a pair before it's applying in production your configuration. So now you can filter on your groups of nodes. So you can tell, okay, this group of nodes is very critical, but you can also filters on the users. So you can say, okay, this is a newcomer in Rudder. He will probably do some mistakes, so I need to review his changes before it's applied directly to the production. We also work a little bit on AWS and AMI, so Amazon Image. So now you can grab all the Amazon inventory things to put it in Rudder, and you can make some groups with it or configuration with it. We pass through systemd for all the whole thing. You can remote run graphically, so you can trigger an agent directly from the web interface, which is kind of cool for demo things, or if you're in an emergency things also. Pay attention, for now we have a little issue of the different distributions, so we have a ticket open on this, and we're gonna fix this very shortly. We pass through Python 3, but I don't think it's very, very interesting for now. But this is more interesting. We are starting to package techniques, so it will be very useful for you to have all your techniques and pass through one root server to another root of server. So especially for service providers, or especially for consultants that have many Rudders and want to have their own rule that they wrote for a customer, for example, and they want just to pick this up and propose to another customer. So it will be easier, and maybe one day it will go through a Rudder market of techniques, maybe, but it's a first step to that. It was very useful for the CIS plugin because we exactly use that. So for now, it's just the beginning. We are currently working on it to make it more stabilized and publish this, allowing you to use it. We work on zipper pattern package, and so OS query that I already told before, and you can use more variable from your machines. We enhance a little bit the plugins. I will not go too much into the details, but Ansible, we create an Ansible plugins that allowing you to run a playbook directly from Rudder. So you can just use it in a technique editor and use it as a generic method to say, okay, I want to remediate with a playbook execution and not within Rudder. We also have a plugin with OpenSCAP, so you can actually do a check on the profile and automate this on all the group of nodes and getting the policy, the compliance, the report compliance of OpenSCAP. The result is it in a tab of your node. Zabbix and Centrion also is coming for, it's already here, for automating all the monitoring stuff. So basically, when you had a node in Rudder, it automatically creates the node within Zabbix or Centrion, and you can also apply a host template or a check verification automatically. Yeah, so this is basically the Ansible plugin that's running, and so you have all the report of Ansible directly. CIS plugin, so for now we don't support 100% of the CIS plugin, of the CIS benchmarks. We have 70%, which is sufficient for now, and we are currently more working about making it available on other distributions, because for now it's only working on Red Hat and Debian, but we wanted to make it available for the old systems. So basically for now also pay attention that it's only noded for now. It will be maybe later that we had in the enforce. So if you download the CIS plugin, ensure that you never change and let in audit mode for now, please. Which is not an open source plugin, so sorry about that, but it's a CVE assessment plugin, only available through a subscription. Basically, we parse all the CVE through Vulner's API, so which is based on the CVE details. Based on that, we can show you all the different CVEs that are currently on your systems, and you can also look at this, look at which nodes are vulnerable to which CVE. You've got all the CVE details. You know also what the vulnerable package is, and for now it's only like a interesting thing to just dig this out and having an overview. And lately we will be adding all the historic things, so you can know when the first time we saw this vulnerability on these systems, but also the last time, so normally it should be passed. Thank you. should be finished and patched. Probably also we added some remediate things to help you to remediate, but it will be later. What about future? For now, we are not sure about more than 6.1 version that we know that we wanted to have it before this summer. So probably May or June maximum. We will stabilize all our new plugins that we added in 6.0. So as I said, 6.1 will be a stabilized version of 6.0. We also enhance the Tynec library with categories, technique tags, which is kind of nice. So you can more easily see which chapter of this security standards is applied by this rules, for example. So it's a kind of nice. We also adding a UI to the scale out plugin, so with the relays. So you will see all the nodes behind the relay and you can act on it. Small enhancement, but now you should probably could add your logo to the Rudder interface. We had some demands about that. So it is less than usually we had. Each new old major versions had a lot of new features. For now, we're trying to have .1 very quickly. So more features will come later, and so later will be 6.2 or maybe 7.0. It depends on what we're gonna do with this. What we want to do is putting this out by the end of the year. And our two focus are so large and strategic IT configurations, so for large users, with rollout, for the rollout and the ramp up especially, so you can roll out from the different environment directly through Rudder, so it will need more versioning also. Delegation right to allow you to just separate your work with your team guys. We also talk about the Rudder language. So 6.1 will integrate a first version of the Rudder language, but it will not be visible for you. It's for us internally, and compared the Rudder language with the actual configuration through the technique editor to just be sure that we cover everything. This will be talked by Benoit in something like 1 hour or so, something. But we also go on the security purpose. So basically, we want to be a good tool from the ops to address also the sec team, because Rudder is very easy to use. So we always have different teams using Rudder, and we thought that there is a lot of problem through the risk mitigations. So from the security guys going through the operational teams, it's always a pain because the security have all these tests and assessment, but they can do nothing. And so they just pass information to the operational teams that need to do everything on the systems, but they don't know how to do and what is a good prioritization and others. So we will work especially on that, picking plugin the CVE assessment with other sources and having a better compliance, especially on the historization. So we will probably put out plugin that will historize externally all the compliance data, and you can just explore it through the API or directly by downloading everything. So it could be useful for your SIIM systems. Well, for now, that's all. No question? Good. Thank you.